Oshay Duke Jackson just called out Anton Daniels.
Clearly, we can understand that Anton has no level of academic intelligence because it shows. It is just bigotry after bigotry after bigotry.
Who is one of the most anti-black creators on YouTube, right along with the Cartier family and the Hodge twins.
And actually, we're supporting and upholding prejudice, bias, and racist views that does not have any place in society, and is one of the reasons why we need to dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion and start making it merit-based.
And Anton Daniels weirdly used the sentencing of Carmelo Anthony to demonize and attack the black community, like he always does.
For years, I've been at the top of the mountaintop preaching this message. Everything that he says, there is not one thing, from the single mother households to the lack of accountability, the participation of fathers inside of the home.
But Oshay absolutely cooked him, calling out his contradictions, hypocrisies, and just straight up grift at this point.
Anton Daniels says, oh, he's a free thinker. He knows a lot about the case. He researched the case. He doesn't know anything that he's talking about. And that is the real point with guys who are just anti-black.
But I'm Jew, welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
On June 9th, 2026, Carmelo Anthony was convicted of first-degree murder, and subsequently in the same day of the verdict was issued a 35-year sentence. Now here in Black YouTube, this is a very popular topic, and even if I'm making videos on anything else, people are commenting about the case. And that brings me to this comment here. Anton Daniels has a new video up titled Black Culture Failed Cyrus and Carmelo. Should be interesting. Not Anton Daniels being anti-black again. Got him! So I type in the video.
I mean, yeah, that's his whole channel, man. Anton Daniels is just so anti-black. Like I said, right along with the Cartier family, it's black fatigue this, black fatigue that. Everything is bad about the black community, but they never criticize anybody else. They have no smoke for white people at all. It's just highlighting every single world problem and trying to connect it back to the black community. It's 100% a grift, and they just provide a safe space for racists in their comment section.
And I had to check out what he was saying. So Anton Daniels doesn't create content like me. He just reacts to other people's original content on the internet. And that brings me to this.
Was that a shot? Did he just call that man lazy?
He was reacting to a person that had an opinion on the Cyrus Carmack Belton case. And
secondly, why you in a stove taking water, putting it back, you looking suspicious?
That's a stupid thing to say. That boy looked suspicious to them as soon as he walked in the store. They told him to put his book bag down. He couldn't bring his book bag in the store. He did that, and then they immediately started following him around from jump. At least the wife did, while the son watched from the register.
Yes. Yes, we got a test. That pen needs to go on the ice cream test. Yep.
She told him you can't have a book bag, so he put the book bag down by the front. As soon as he walked in, they were already watching him and already on him. She's just watching him. Both of them. He's watching from right here. She goes around the store to watch him, to act like she's doing something, but it's all to watch him. She goes in this corner, does nothing. She goes right here and starts fixing chips that there was nothing wrong with, just to keep him in her line of sight. Look at this, she's doing nothing. She's doing nothing but following him around. And now at this point, just standing there and staring at this 14-year-old boy. She's accusing him of stealing the water right now, which he didn't. He was suspicious no matter what he did, and he didn't do anything wrong. He took waters out of the fridge, put the waters back, didn't steal anything, and still got falsely accused of stealing. So I can already tell what type of dumbass video this is about to be.
Now I know a lot of people gonna say, well, the store owner and his son shouldn't have ran him down or chased him. Well, I think you got to look into the laws that's out there. You are able to do that in those different states.
What different states? He already sounds like he doesn't know what he's talking about. You gotta look into the laws. It is no law in any state saying you can falsely accuse somebody of stealing, then chase them out of your store 130 yards away from your store and have a physical confrontation. He sounds like he's talking out the side of his neck.
Now, while this guy was giving this commentary, did you guys notice Anton Daniels' facial and nodding expressions? He even rolled his eyes to the utmost corner as if this guy was speaking fact.
He be calling people sassy.
First of all right, it's so much sass in this fucking video, it's insane.
He out here rolling his eyes like somebody gave him a compliment.
Well, let's see if he was. The first thing the guy says, why you in the store putting back these bottles, making yourself look suspicious? That's the first argument. The issue with this is Cyrus Carmack Belton left his backpack at the counter, and it's very difficult to have 4 bottles of water on your person. It's very difficult to hide that. It's very difficult to steal that. I don't care if they're big water bottles or small water bottles. It's impossible to steal 4 when your bag is at the counter.
He was on camera literally returning the water bottles. He did not steal a water bottle. And again, he was suspicious to them as soon as he walked in the store. The wife followed him around the store. And then by the time he got over there by the fridge, she just came and stood by that Fiji box and was watching him.
But whether you felt that he was looking suspicious or not, the reality is that Cyrus Carmack Belton didn't have the water bottles on him.
Facts.
The second point he would try to make is they can chase you in different states. Let's say if this is true. Well, you can chase somebody if they have actually stolen something. In the case of Cyrus Carmack
Even that, once somebody leaves store property, that parking lot, you can't chase them.
Belton, they had no reason to chase him because they made a mistake. They thought he stole some water. He did not. The product was still there in the store. So now what you're talking about is that somebody looks suspicious, but that is subjective. Could he have been looking suspicious just because he was black? But the argument doesn't hold water. As you can see, the logic doesn't make sense. And that's the main reason why Anton Daniels selected this clip. However,
Thirdly, what got the boy actually shot was because he had a gun on. He dropped the gun in the midst of running and turned around and pointed the gun. So bam, he ended up getting
That's not what happened at all. And the defense attorney and the woman that did the autopsy said that it was impossible for him to have been pointing a gun with the direction that the bullets went through his back.
shot.
Prosecutors asked if it would have been possible for Cyrus to have been turned around pointing a weapon. She said no.
So these are just 2 anti-black Uncle Ruckus raccoons spreading anti-black propaganda, because this is just lies.
guys, did you just hear that? He said he's dropped the gun, pointed the gun, then bam, he got shot. Now, how much sense does that make? Can you be running fast, drop the gun, then point the gun that's dropped, and then get shot? It's impossible. You wanna know why? Because if somebody is running and they drop the gun, they have to decelerate, then stop.
What are these clips that Oshay be using? Hey, shout out to Oshay's editors. I don't know what B-roll this is.
Then take the time to either back up or lower themselves, pick up a gun, take the gun off of safety, try to aim at the target in order to shoot somebody.
Right, because keep in mind, they were running for 130 yards. If you're running at full speed for 130 yards and something drops out of your pocket, because we assume that's where the gun was, in his front pocket, which is why it was so heavy. By the time it dropped, if he's running at full speed, he can't just stop, instantly pick up the gun, turn around and aim it, which never happened. That's all propaganda bullshit. That never happened. But just like Oshay said, there will be a whole scenario where he has to stop, turn around, go back, pick up the gun, point, and even that doesn't match what the autopsy said of how he got shot in his back.
Heard from Dr. Amy Durso, the forensic pathologist who performed Cyrus's autopsy. She walked jurors through the bullet's path through his body, using x-rays and a courtroom demonstration to explain what positioning would be consistent with the trajectory she observed.
To expect this trajectory, would it be consistent with somebody running away in a runner's stance with their back directly towards you?
Yeah, so
He wouldn't have been able to do any of that.
Now, according to what this guy was saying, none of that is humanly possible. But Anton Daniels cannot even understand that this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's just complete bias. So how valuable does Anton Daniels believe that this guy's discussion is?
This is one of the rare black people that I've seen that had some kind of critical thinking skills, that is thinking outside of the narrative, thinking outside of the talking points. I'm assuming maybe he even watched a little bit of the trial so that he can get the details.
Boy, you don't sit your stupid ass down. Who the you think you is?
Anton Daniels is such an Uncle Ruckus. He did that exact same thing when that HBCU ran those MAGA kids off of their campus. He cherry-picked clips of other anti-black people attacking the black students, didn't know what they were talking about, and agreed with them to demonize the students there.
Girls cut their hair off, they got these septum rings, and they talking about white supremacy this, white supremacy that. All that money donated to the HBCUs, Trump allocating all that money, and what do you get from that? You get septum ring piercings, you get crippling student loan debt.
It's 100% a reason that Anton Daniels chose this as the first video to respond to the MAGA kids getting chased off campus.
I agree 100% with what he says, because all of this stuff is stuff that I say on a regular basis.
And the one clip that he used where the person didn't agree with him, he just kept calling the guy sassy and then ignored all of his points.
Anton Daniels says, oh, he's a free thinker. He knows a lot about the case. He researched the case.
Hey, shout out to the editors.
The guy is a freaking idiot.
He doesn't know anything that he's talking about. And that is the real point with guys who are just anti-black. They pick the dumbest people to react to. It's obvious that the guy has no level of academic intelligence. Clearly, we can understand that Anton has no level of academic intelligence because it shows. And it's just bigotry after bigotry after bigotry after bias after bias after bias, just to prove your point as to what you're talking to. Now, don't get me wrong, everybody is biased to their opinion, but this is complete bias to the point that it serves no real value to an audience that's clearly thinking and hearing what the person is talking about. Now, what this guy will try to do in talking about Cyrus Carmack Belton and also Carmelo Anthony, which is what Anton would try to put in the title, is that the reason why Cyrus Carmack Belton and Carmelo Anthony failed was because of this.
You know what we do promote? Sliding, gang banging, drug dealing, this whole mentality that these young women are teaching these little girls. That's what we pride. That's what we teach our kids. And we wonder why they be in these type of situations.
Nothing he's talking about had anything to do with Cyrus or Carmelo. Carmelo was a captain in 2 sports, and that incident that unfortunately happened with him was at a school function, at a track event. So nothing he's saying applies to Carmelo. Maybe you can say some of that about Cyrus, like buying into the street hype because he had a gun on him. But at the same time, that situation didn't happen to him because he had a gun on him. They racially profiled him off rip, followed him around the store, accused him of stealing when he didn't, and then chased after him with a gun on them before they even knew he had a gun or was involved in anything. So none of those apply.
So let's examine this claim because it is important. All we promote, sliding, gang banging, drug dealing, the whole mentality of these young women are teaching these little girls, that's what we pride, that's what we teach our kids. Now, we can't say that for Carmelo Anthony. He was the captain for his high school football and track and field teams. He had a 3.7 GPA, which means that he was highly recruitable for college programs. Now, in the case of Cyrus Carmack Belton, yes, he does seem to be going down the wrong path, but neither of those things have anything to do as to why they died.
Right.
Cyrus Carmack Belton died. He tried to flee the situation.
Right, at no point did he pull a gun out on them. At no point did he stop, turn around, and try to shoot them. Even if he had that gun on him and that's what he was gonna do, he wouldn't have run off in the first place.
Somebody was chasing him that had no business chasing him. He didn't pull the gun out on anybody in the store. And in the case of Carmelo Anthony, he got convicted largely because the prosecution was able to kind of show the world that maybe it wasn't self-defense as he said.
And the defense was ass.
But again, none of those things have anything to do with these outcomes for these young men.
Right.
Running away from somebody who's accusing you of stealing water bottles, whether the person has a gun or not, is not the real reason why either of these things happen. And this is what a lot of these guys do. They try to conflate arguments that don't really belong in the timeline of what you're talking about. So they can come and just paint all black people with a, this kind of broad brush just to prove their point. And then to close out this argument, well,
for years, I've been at the top of the mountaintop preaching this message. Everything that he says, there is not one thing, from the single mother households to the lack of accountability to participation of fathers inside of the homes.
He's been telling everybody the culture is trash. And that's pretty much the antidote. The culture is trash. Carmelo Anthony, one of the reasons why he killed somebody.
Even this picture of him holding the gun, right? They have pictures of the Austin brothers holding guns. This is the stuff I don't like. It's okay when white kids hold rifles. For whatever reason, it's socially acceptable for white kids to learn how to use guns, be holding guns and pictures with guns. But when a black kid is holding a gun, automatically they look like a thug. It's completely hypocritical.
The culture is trash. Cyrus Carmack Belton, he was killed because the culture is trash. You need to go head on and fix yourself because the culture is trash. Well, let me just tell you this. While the black community does have very many problems, people go to jail for stuff like this every day. I mean, the Menendez brothers, even though that was something different, they killed their parents. I mean, in a good situation.
Every community commits crimes, and every race commits more crimes against their own race than they do outside races. But due to media hyperfixation on the black community, all that's ever talked about is black crime or black criminality.
Living amongst millionaires, and they did it. You have people all the time of different races that make some of the dumbest mistakes. You want to know what happens? People make mistakes when they're young. Despite the fact that they're black or white or Asian or Hispanic, things happen in life. People do it all the time.
Black people are also penalized way more than everybody else for whatever mistakes we make. We are the only community that does not get to make mistakes and receive a slap on the wrist or get grace and move on with our lives and mature and become better people. We are held to a much different standard than everybody else. Again, not saying we don't have issues. Every community has issues, but we're the only ones that pay for them the way we do.
Cyrus Carmack Belton or Carmelo Anthony, they won't be the first person to make a mistake. They won't be the last person to make a mistake. But what gets me is that some of these conservative YouTubers will just pick anything to prove their point, even when the information that they're using is completely biased, has no bearing on the argument. Here's my criticism for the people who say the culture is so trash. And you have a problem with the culture is so trash, obviously bothers you. What do you want to do about it? I mean, it bothers you. It's a slogan. It's something that you feel needs to change. Well, then we should ask Anton Daniels. Anton, with all of the money and all of the opportunity that you have right now in Detroit, well, how can you help fix the culture? I mean, you are a bag chaser. I mean, you have all of this money, you have all of this opportunity, you live in Detroit.
It's the editing for me, man. Maybe it's been a second since I watched the Oshay video. The editing got me cracking up.
Well, then can't you help fix the culture? And then whenever you ask somebody like him a question like this, well then, what are you gonna hear? Exactly, you're gonna hear crickets, because it's a whole monetization system based on being disingenuous and not telling the truth and just completely lying all the time, just so that you can make a few dollars. And the one thing that we gotta kind of understand here is that despite the fact that you may not like Cyrus Carmack Belton, or you may think that Carmelo Anthony is guilty, it's a horrible thing that he's gonna go to jail and do a lot of years. And it's also a horrible thing about what happened to Mr. Austin Metcalf and that loss of life. We do gotta understand that when you paint somebody with a broad brush, it affects their families too, especially families who raised the kid that probably made a bad mistake. We've all made mistakes. And I'm not denying that the black community has a long way to go, but it's one thing to have a long way to go and then being disingenuous about the road that you gotta go. That's just lying. That's just not telling the truth. and that's just not fair.
Anton Daniels is also really anti-black American too. He's the same person that refused to even say he was black. He said he was a Christian first. And any chance he gets, he takes shots at black Americans. Shout out to Oshay for that video. He was 100% right, 100% accurate. He didn't even go as hard as he could have on Anton Daniels, just being a raccoon that cherry picks these people that are also anti-black to attack the black community. They build these huge platforms just hating on us, and I don't know how black people follow them. It's crazy to me. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting, and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.